Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. Today I am with
Lance Scott of Texas Toast Guitars.
That's right. And the reason that we have Lance here today is we want to talk a little bit about the Hamer stressed neck. Now, what you're probably thinking is, why is Lance there to talk about the Hamer stressed neck? Well, Lance has been there, done that, got the t-shirt and wore it out. He's a Hamer aficionado, and you were a sponsored Hamer player for a little while. Is
Very
that
brief
right?
period of time in the early 1990s. Yep.
Okay. So the Hamer stressed neck is much misunderstood innovation,
yes.
And it's a little more than a lot of people think. Well, it's just three pieces of wood glued together. That's not it. So here is the guitar neck that we are making for Lance's guitar, and as you can see in the end grain here, can you see that there? This is three pieces of wood glued together. This started out as one piece of wood, and so we oriented the grain such that if one board wanted to, say, go up and to the right, we glued the one going down and to the left, and we got the grain going how we wanted it. But Lance, what is the deal with the Hamer stressed neck? I mean, you know more about it than I do.
So the reason Hamer did this is they were building Gibsons, knockoff Gibsons, in the late 70s and the early 1980s, and all the players wanted a 1959 Les Paul or some facsimile thereof of an early 50s.
They wanted a better Gibson than Gibson.
Yeah. A hyper Gibson. And Hamer, when they were building their original knockoff Gibsons, had the problem of these guys going around the world and saying, "Hey, we got to Japan after a 20-hour flight in the airplane. The frozen guitars wound up in a hot, humid environment. They necks all warped and bent, and they needed something better." And so Hamer sat down and said, "Well, how do we do this?" And that's exactly what they came up with, was the stressed neck.
One of the cool things about the not using a one-piece neck like Gibson uses, and I'm down with one-piece necks. We use them when we can. Especially though with mahogany, that you get that 14-degree headstock angle, and you've got all that run out right there, and you get a really easy to break headstock. Where this will sort out some of that, especially when we only use a 7-degree headstock angle. And I don't know what Hamer used. I think they used the
somewhere in there.
Yeah,
no, it depended on the model, right?
Yeah, from model to model, it probably could go anywhere from 14 to nothing, depending on what they were. Because they make like a bolt-on, like a Fender style neck too. Okay.
The Centaura, the Steve Stevens model, had a Fender style straight headstock.
Okay, cool. So one of the other advantages of the Hamer stressed neck, I mean, obviously, so stability for one. But one of the reasons that, if anyone's read my workshop blog, I think that there was a time when, at the height of Hamer production, where they were run out of material, or it was just easier to get pieces of 4-quarter lumber that was dry, rather than one piece of 12-quarter lumber that was as dry as they needed. So it was stable, and it was easy to get material and make a neck that was an engineered neck. Right? Okay.
Absolutely. And then you add a stable piece. The other thing they did was whatever fingerboard they were choosing, they chose from a common piece. So they got all the grain going in the same direction. They can make several fretboards from that. Added stability to the neck. Everything they were doing was worried about neck stability. Okay. So that was really the premise behind all of their design modifications or upgrades.
Sure, make the neck stable and worry about everything else. Now, Hamer was also a big proponent of the low mass truss rod, which we talked a little bit about today. So that's going to be the channel set in in a curve with just one rod fixed at the heel end and adjusted at the neck end, with a piece of maple or whatever they used with a neck wood. And then they would scrunch that down, and then what would happen is, as you would tighten this, it would try to straighten the rod, thus bending the neck. And then Hamer went a step further, and they would put the neck together, tighten the truss rod, then glue the fretboard on, then radius the fretboard, then loosen the truss rod, so that you had a little bit of both way action. You could loosen it or tighten it. It would only be active in one way, but given the way that they produced the neck, it was it through inaction did another thing. So yeah.
And we can say that, you know, from experience, I've seen multiple Hamers come out of the box from the factory, and then some that have sat in a warehouse in Southern California for a while. So they've been in that humid air in a box for a while. You let them out, and literally the thing would lengthen slightly. It would go way up in pitch. They just acclimate very well to whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the world, as long as you're willing to adjust them on the fly. And once you set them, wherever you are, they handle themselves quite well. They do quite well going location to location. I've brought one up here to Denver from California, and it didn't lay out and dry out like most of them do. It stayed right put, didn't have to adjust anything, and put strings on it and play for hours on end and no problem.
It was, you know, Hamer was one of the companies that was a real inspiration to me as a builder. And if you look at any of my guitars on the website, there's a lot of design cues that we took from Hamer, and because they were a pivotal company. And when Hamer was big, man, you couldn't pay someone to play a Gibson or Fender. That's
true.
Not from the late 70s or early 80s. They all wanted stuff from the 50s.
Absolutely.
And so
even nowadays, it's hard for me to imagine anybody wanting to go and get even a custom Fender or a custom Gibson. They're still not the quality. They're still cutting corners. They're still doing all.
They're not really. It's not really a custom shop.
No.
Hamer was always a custom shop. I want 5 necks. I want some crazy thing. You know, I defy you to call the Fender custom shop and say I want a double neck that looks like me. And the feet are that.
Yeah. They definitely went all in on any custom design you wanted.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see Gary Moore's name on that list. Die Hard
Really?
Fins. Yeah. In fact, they were the ones. As the story goes, it was Joel who figured out that the magnet was out of phase. It was him that figured it out.
Oh,
so.
wow.
Again, I don't have any backing of that for truth. I just hear the rumor, and it's close enough in the time frame that it makes sense to me. But
you know,
they did all kinds of stuff like that.
There's a lot of funny people who had, well, not a lot of funny. There's a lot of people that seem peculiar to me that were on the Hamer roster.
Right.
And you know, we're building a bunch of Mosrite style guitars now, and Johnny Ramone had that white Hamer Special.
Yep.
That was like, I don't know what was different about it than it was just a white Hamer Special.
3 pickups. He used the prototype pickup, and then they built him with several others that just had a single humbucker.
Okay.
They had that prototype pickup.
Did he ever actually play that?
Oh God, all the time.
Okay.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Because you know, I only saw the Ramones one time, and he had some beat the shit Mosrite. But I think at some point it was like, okay, this is what I'm identified with, and yeah.
Yeah, and Mosrite came in and went a couple of times, and so he could get newer ones.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I think even so. Isn't Hallmark, Chris, making a Johnny Ramone Mosrite now?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So somebody's doing it.
Someone's making. Yeah, the guy's dead, and they're still pimping him. Yeah.
You know, shock the corpse. It's all good.
So the Hamer stress neck is a fascinating bit of guitar history for me.
Yeah.
And we are going to be building. Lance has actually commissioned us to build a reproduction of his 86, 87 Hamer California.
92.
90. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Lance has actually commissioned us to build him. And what happened to that guitar? Why don't you?
I was a fool and I sold it.
But like, you know what? And we all have stories like that. Don't judge. We all have stories like that. So I know I do.
Yeah.
So if you want some more information on the Hamer Stress Neck, if you go to www.texastoastguitars.com and look in the workshop blog, there is way more information than you ever want to know about the Hamer Stress Neck. What's that? And I'll put a link down below. That's right. And if you have any questions, though, that are not answered there, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. And if you like content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button. That's right. So this is Matt.
And Lance.
At Texas Toast Guitars. And always reminding you that if you're so smart, build it yourself. That's what I do, and that's what Joel Danzig from Hamer did, and that's what we're going to do with Lance's guitar here. So thanks for watching, everybody.
I wanna play my guitar the only way